Now the rebuttal argument. Okay, I prepared some notes, but it's going to be hard for me to read them, especially because everybody in here is kind of like my friends, so I just like having a conversation. Give me a minute. Thank you, Mark, Lisa, and Trina, for those very sweet remarks. Thank you, everyone. I know there's a lot of competing events right now, so those who actually are here, I appreciate that. And the people who took the time to make little ads in the booklet, thank you, and I thanks you. No immigration attorney can claim success on his or her own, I didn't know I was going to be an immigration attorney for a long time, actually, until I suddenly became one. It just sort of hit me, and that was 18 years ago, and it kind of worked out since. I'm really glad it did. Following the slogan of the American Immigration Council, I need to honor my immigrant past. I was born in San Francisco, as were my parents and all four of my grandparents, which is unusual. 6 of my 8 great-grandparents were immigrants, mostly Jewish, Central Eastern European immigrants. Sorry. When I was born, most of them were still alive, and my family had a very immigrant-centered orientation, even though I'm like third, fourth generation. Somehow, they had the good sense to cross an ocean and a continent to come to San Francisco. Back then, it was known for the Barbary Coast, earthquakes, and sunny weather, all of which are pretty much, untrue. My forebears were kind of trailblazers in their own ways. My grandfather was an attorney, my uncle's an attorney, and in San Francisco, and they had a sort of a family practice, client-centered practice, and they would remind people that every person that every person is
she's always taking care of it.
Is worth their share of human dignity, no matter what their station in life. And they remind me and others of that. Now, my mom is a paralegal in the family law business, and my father's a scientist. And my sister and I went to Cal, where they met. And they raised us in a home where education was a top priority. Family meals were sacred. Your word was your bond. And you did unto others as you want them to do to you, which is not a bad way to go. My sister ended up as a social worker, and she's married to an attorney, and they have 3 kids, so that's pretty social work. My spouse, Walter, is an immigrant himself. Hearing his story of how he got here and crossed the border back in the 80s, which still wasn't easy. It's not easy today, it wasn't easy then. But he was seeking a better, safer life. That he created, let's see, out of here. Sorry. New life, new language, new world, and he did it all by himself. As so many people do, because they have to. Through sheer force of will, they have to. He studied English in Chinatown in San Francisco, so he wouldn't fall back on speaking Spanish. So now his Cantonese is better than his English. But that's okay, in San Francisco, that's okay. No, I was not his attorney, despite the rumors. But we did marry for the green card. The Colombian green card that I wanted. He already had his green card. How's it that? so you see when I marshal the facts in that very self-serving way that immigration law is what I was meant to do. I just didn't know it. Throughout my career, I benefited from mentors, including my own family, and beyond that. When I was an undergrad, I majored in math, and my scientist father was very happy about that and encouraged me. I went to graduate school and thought, life in math, I'm sure it's great. It wasn't for me. It's a little abstract, a little theoretical, so I left and I went to the ACLU, where I interned in New York for a couple years, and the attorneys there inspired me to go to law school. And my father was a little distressed for the 2 years. I wasn't doing anything, and then when I went to law school, everybody's happy. So that worked. In law school, I credit Professor Bill Hing with introducing me to immigration law, then at Stanford, and with Eric Cohen for being my supervisor in the immigration clinic, which is sort of when the bells went off. I'm like, oh, this is such a great way to practice law. We all know that, but I didn't know that at the time. This was back in 1995, well before immigration was in the news every day, or basically at all. And very few people were doing immigration litigation. Fortunately, one of the best was in San Francisco and had an ad for a summer or a school internship. So I answered it, and there we go. My first semester at B&B was compensated with 3 bottles of wine. Thank you, Christine. But that was the material compensation. It was the other kind of compensation paid off big time. That's been my only job for the last 18 years. And even though my name is the easiest to pronounce, Nightingale, it's still a mouthful. And, hello, this is Nightingale Nightingale. This is Zach speaking, how may I help you? It's a lot for our receptionist, but they did. When our 4th partner, Stacey Garland, was added, fortunately her ego is not as big as mine, so she did not insist her name be added as well. So 18 years later, I'm still there. I can finally vote. Cannot drink in the office, however. Bearing arms, I'm not going to go there.
Partially.
Seriously, there's no better mentor for practicing immigration law than Mark Vanderhout. And I was very lucky to end up practicing there, learning from Mark, interacting with him on a personal level, on a professional level, every day, practically every day, for 18 years. Christine, I don't know who this is, but I'm going to
It's okay. We've shared a lot over the years.
Christine is incomparable as a mentor in running a practice. So many attorneys, it's like herding cats, and so thank you, Christine, and being a great manager and mentor in that respect as well. Our alumni club is probably half this room.
Heads up, heads up.
A lot of people, some haven't seen in several years. It's great to have those connections everywhere. Attorneys, paralegals all over the country. They're in private practice, they're in nonprofits, they're in AILA, they're in NIP, they're in the government. Some of them will even publicly admit it, so that's pretty good. We're better off, and hopefully they're better off. We have a great current staff. They may or may not be on the screen, which is dark right now if anyone's monitoring that, but we were Skyping with them, so if you can still see me, thank you. I don't know, it doesn't look like this. But anyways, I'm very happy, very proud, and very lucky to have the love and support of the current staff, in addition to the alumni, and they make us look good all the time. So I have to acknowledge that. Thank you. I will single out 2 attorneys who are of my generation and started pretty much at the same time I did. Betsy Lawrence, who's now at AILA, and Trina, who you already know and love, who I kind of grew up in immigration law with, and are doing such great work. Dan at NIP, is an amazing steward of this organization for longer than I even know, and I've been doing this 18 years. And Paramita, Sejal, Trina are great mentors to so many immigration attorneys, which, yes, I do believe is so important. And Dan is a mentor's mentor, right? To them and to us. Ellen, Pamela, Anna, Bethany, Rosa, do thank you for making NIP function and work. Thank you, as I said, to everybody who's made donations to today's program to support NIP. It's really important. It's crucial to be a mentor, to have mentors and to be a mentor. If there's one thing I've learned from my mentor, be relentless.